What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your lovely co-host ZD in the building with CJ. We coming at you guys live, man. It's a Monday, March 30th. We got a banger, bro. First team All NBA. We're going to talk about the Bulls for a little bit. We're also going to talk about the playoff contenders, the people, the teams that we think can win the NBA Finals. CJ, how are you feeling today, bro? How are you doing? It was nice chopping it up with you for like 45 minutes there.
Of
Got Dre
course.
in the back.
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great, bro. I feel like we always say it anytime we're able to chop it up about hoops and, our teams have been doing pretty good for the most part, our shorts have been, getting a lot of traction, a lot of people, in the comments going crazy, but
Yeah,
it's
that's dope.
it's what we do this for. And obviously, even if we weren't able to get, the engagement that we have been, we would still do it anyway. So the fact that it is getting some traction, we're getting some people commenting,
Facts.
it's dope. It's dope seeing that. And we see in the comments, and we don't know ball, we don't watch ball, bro. It's
Wait,
interesting,
can I
but
say something? Bro, you
go
got to
for it.
watch the podcast because you're taking these shorts out of context. Like, our editor just is clipping them up. It's
Hmm.
not like we're not trying to ruin your day, bro. Just
Right.
just check out the podcast. We had an issue with the Nico Harrison one. Where it's like Mavs aren't contenders. They were never contenders. Bro, me and CJ didn't think so either. We're talking about Nico Harrison, did.
Right.
That's why he made these trades. He was saying we got a 2-year window, bro. Get out of here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so me and you we having a blast with that. We appreciate the engagement and all
Of course.
the new subs because we have
Right.
been getting a lot recently.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, it's been dope. Just seeing the progression. I talked to you about it, Z, before we started. Just it's been incredible, bro. So it's great seeing how far we've come, and we actually we're doing our thing. So I can't complain, and
I know.
it's just being able to chop it up with chop it up with you about hoops every single Monday and Wednesday. It always brings joy to my day, and it reminds me of like why we do this all the time, because we love hoops, we love watching it, and the fact that we have an audience that has been listening to us and paying attention, and just makes it even better. So I'm good, bro. It's good. Start the week off
Yeah.
right. I got Sunday off this week for Easter. Shout out to HEB. That's the one thing I'll say them. We have that day off, but I'm excited. We're ready to get into it. We're getting to the end of the season. I think we have the
What do
Thunder
you say?
have
You say the nitty gritty. That's
the nitty gritty, yeah, bro.
yeah.
But yeah, like
I like
six
it.
six more games, and for us, and
Yeah.
I'm excited, bro. It's been good, and I'm ready to chop it up with you about this first team All NBA, bro. It's gonna be great, and
Facts.
yeah,
You want to just
I'm
go right
excited.
into it? You want to
Yeah,
take it away? Because I put your list on the outline today. You got it.
yeah, let's do it, bro. So, for everyone that doesn't know, we have been doing the all NBA teams as of late. We did third, we did second. Now we're on to the first team. These are the in our eyes the top 5 players in the league, and pretty similar list for the most part. But I think we have one different person, and I think I'll just start it off right there, man. So in the 5th spot for me for the first team All NBA of the 2025-2026 NBA season is Jaylen Brown, man. JB makes my first team All NBA, and for good reason. Jaylen Brown has had an MVP caliber season, and he's having the best year of his career in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game. 28.5, 7 rebounds, and 5.1 assists. Tatum
Mm-hmm.
also has been hurt for most of the season, putting added pressure on Jaylen Brown to perform, and he's answered, leading the Celtics to a 47-24 record. That's good for second in the East right now. Brown could easily make it into the first team if injury luck hurts other players' eligibility. We talked about it last time
Yeah.
when you
It would be
brought
no
him up.
debate.
No debate, bro. So,
Yeah.
but I just think what he's
Somebody
been able to
misses.
do this whole season, being able to up pretty much every major statistical category this season, and the fact that he, didn't have his running mate in Jason Tatum. You know what I mean? I feel like he
Right.
kind of proved to us the type of player that he is, and just seeing how dominant he is. It seems like he's getting into the weight room. He's able to get to his spots in the mid range, and even when he gets to the paint, like it just seems like he kind of bullies everyone. So seeing his progression, seeing what he's been able to do, obviously playmaking has gotten improved a lot this season, averaging his career high in assists, like I mentioned earlier. But it's just
That's what it is.
it's the expectations that we had for the Celtics, not really expecting much, but he overseeded those expectations for us. And, I got to put JB in this first spot for me in the first team.
Yeah, I think that last part was like, we know injuries are going to impact this list, bro. And so he could make this list easily, especially if they don't put Cade there, who is my fifth spot. I think JB and Cade are kind of that flip-flop spot, but Cade Cunningham should be on an All-NBA first team for me. If he can somehow hurry back to get these last 4 games that I think he needs. He's sitting at 61 games played so far in the year. Cunningham is averaging 24.5 points per game along with 10 assists per game, which ranks second in the NBA to only Jokic. So we knew he was dishing out assists since he came into the league, but I think he's turned into like a basketball, what do they say, savant, bro. He's like controlling the game at a pace that's like Luka like, honestly. And just seeing Cade's growth over the last 2-3 years has been extraordinary. Cunningham has also led the Pistons to the best record in the East, as Detroit sits at 54-20. Detroit also has a plus 7.8 net rating when Cunningham is on the floor, and has a 118.8 offensive rating when he's also on the court. So they're scoring almost 119 points a game when he's in there. I don't know, bro. Motor City Cade, I want to give him his respect due to the fact that the Pistons, bro, over the last 2 seasons, they've completely reshaped their franchise. They're good. Like, they're no longer this terrible team that, is like the castaway of the league. No. The Pistons are finals contender, and I think Cade's been at the forefront of that, and I think he deserves to make this list for me personally.
Yes, sir. You want to go into the? I think
number
from
4?
this point on,
okay. It's going to be the same. Like CJ was just saying. I think first team again. I didn't want to bring this up. It's these guys on this list. There's really nobody else you can put here. If you had, I think I heard Bill Simmons say Jalen Johnson. I'm like, bro, I get maybe, but like, no way he's better than Nikola Jokic, who we have next on our list. He's the 4th best player right now to me. Jokic has been brilliant all year, and he's been in the MVP conversation all season. Even with the rare injury that he suffered this year, I think he had that knee injury that kept him out those 13 games. He's actually only 2 away from not being eligible for these awards, these incentives, right? But he's played since then. Jokic is averaging a triple-double too, a feat only accomplished by him, Russell Westbrook, and the Big O. Jokic has done this twice. Westbrook has obviously done this twice. Big O has done that, I think, 2 times as well, all of them, which is pretty crazy to say. Jokic is averaging 27.9 points per game this season, 12.9 rebounds, and 10.8 assists per game, ranking top 10 in all 3 major categories. He's the only player in the NBA to do that. So Jokic also ranks first in PER this season with a staggering number of 32.5. For reference, an average NBA player is around 10. So for people who don't know, him and Shea are the only players above 30. Shea's at 31. Jokic is at 32.5. Those 2 players are worth 3 players. So to put it simply, Jokic has been brilliant. I know you're going to say similar things to what I have to say about it. And that's kind of first team's it's a little tedious, but we know you still appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said it, Jokic has been incredible all season. And the fact that he did end up getting an injury that had him out for so long and he was still able to come back from it. And, he's been putting up crazy numbers. I think he was 1 assist off of a 2020 game. And I think I know Russ did it. I'm not too sure who else has done that, but it's a very small list. So he's very close to doing that. And obviously the team has been, scraping out with wins, but, I think Jokic, just numbers-wise, stats, and the fact that I feel like we always talk about him having such a slow start to the season. He's still able to get up to averaging a triple-double for a whole season. Just kind of speaks for itself, and I think it's kind of became one of those things where you expect it. You know, we expect
Yeah,
him to do
exactly.
this as fans, and you know, it's something that we couldn't even imagine before Russ had averaged that triple-double, that this can be something that a player can do for a whole 82-game season. So Jokic
Yeah.
definitely has to be on
He's
our list, bro.
insane.
He's incredible player, and you know, I think we know a lot about Jokic.
Caitlin Clark
bro.
said it yesterday, dude. She's all, oh, he's the best player in the world. Again, I said it. I don't know if he's top 3 even right now in the MVP conversation. It's crazy because we had that conversation 4 months ago. But I'm like, I don't even know if he'll finish top 3 just because voter fatigue, and we kind of take it for granted, like CJ was just saying. But nonetheless, bro, I always say push that to the left. You know, my brother got him on the dynasty team. He's going crazy, putting up 100, 120 fantasy points in a game. Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro. Just like you said, just with seeing what he does year in and year out, it becomes such a ordinary thing at this point of you know, us watching him. But you know, what he's doing is incredible, and it's easily having him in the first team All NBA spot. So going into our next one, man, this is the third spot that we have for our both of our lists. So one and only Victor Wembanyama, man. Wemby is currently the MVP frontrunner, even ahead of Jokic, which says a lot about how Victor has performed this year. In 59 games, Wemby is averaging 24.2 points per game and 11.3 rebounds per game on a Spurs team that is 56-18, only 4 wins away from a 60-win season. Wemby is also a menace on the defensive end, averaging 4 stocks a game, 3 blocks per game, and 1 steal. Wemby has a real chance to win MVP award and the Defensive Player of the Year if the Spurs are able to hawk down the Thunder in the standings. You know, I think we brought him up a couple podcasts ago, and that was one of the clips that kind of popped off for us, and just seeing what we were saying about him potentially being able to win this MVP. I personally still don't think so. He still can, don't get me wrong, but I just think the 2 other guys in front of him have a little bit of a better case, in my opinion. But what he's been able to do, bro, for us to not have him on the first team All NBA would be doing a disservice to the NBA and, you know, all the fans, and seeing his impact and everything that he's done for the Spurs. You know, it's pretty much what we were talking about in their offseason files is essentially what has came about this season. And that's, you know, them being good, Wemby being still the best defensive player in the world. And I think, you know, he has to be on this list for us, bro. Just putting in a Spurs team that for the past 3 seasons has been, you know, lottery team, you know, top 5 picks each season. They're able to, you know, swing their season around, and now they're the second best team in the Western Conference, talking about, you know, competing for a championship. And I think, you know, we'll see what that looks like, but regular season All NBA, Wemby is definitely on there for us. You know, defensively, like you said,
no doubt.
It's just what he's able to do on both sides of the court, you know, being, you know, probably one of the best, if not the best, 2-way player in the league. So third spot for both of us, Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, and you okay, for people who don't know, Wembanyama goes first in any redraft today, above anybody. So to put it simply, it's, you know, all of us, even, you know, anybody that knows basketball has seen it, they'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pick this 7'4" dude who can shoot threes and dribble and block. And yeah, Wemby deserves to be here. I did want to bring this up. This is my caveat. This is a case against him. CJ, he's played the least amount of minutes of anybody on this list. He's also only averaging, you know, 24 minutes a night. It's not to say that he's not a great player, but when Luka and Shea are, you know, Jokic, whoever, averaging 30, 35 minutes a night, doing it on a consistent basis. There was a time period where Wemby would come in, I think for 21 minutes it was, and when he was on that minutes restriction, come out. So it's like, we got to weigh that in terms of the MVP conversation. We have to take that into account too, like minutes played, games played, all of that good stuff. But man, it don't matter because this dude is ahead of Wemby to me. This dude's second on my All-NBA first team. It's none other than Luka Doncic. Doncic has been lights out all season and probably deserves way more love than being completely left off the most recent MVP poll, which is really, I know my opinion doesn't matter on that, bro, but that's really disrespectful to the game, in my opinion, bro, honestly. Because what Luka Doncic has been able to do over this last month, let alone all year, there's really no reason. I mean, the Lakers are also probably going to get 50 wins. And again, be a top 3 in the West. There's no reason he shouldn't be on that list right now. But nonetheless, Doncic is first in scoring in the entire NBA, scoring 33.7 points per game, which also happens to be what, CJ, a career high, which deep into your career, which is, him, Kawhi, right? JB, another similar, like these guys are getting career highs deep into their career, man. You rarely see that. The reason it's odd Luka isn't higher on the MVP list is because of the Lakers' success with him on the floor. The Lakers are 48-26 this season, good for third in the West. And the Lake Show also hold a plus 3.2 net rating when Doncic is on the court. The only thing that people can say is his defense. He's actually top 10 in steals this year. I think he's like 7th in steals. This last month, I think he's ranks top 3 in the NBA in steals. He'll get like 4 or 5 steals a game right now. He's been guarding way better. Luka's definitely second for me, bro, just based off of the entire body of work too, the minutes played, the clutch performances, all of that stuff. I think Luka, in my opinion, deserves to be second on the MVP ballot right now, even though he's nowhere to be found in the top 3.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's kind of like we were saying how Jokic is, right? You just kind of become accustomed to what they do. It's the same thing for Luka. It kind of like he came into the league storming, averaging 30 points and this and that, getting triple doubles out the ass, and seeing how far he's progressed, leading his team to the finals and all these things, right? I feel like that's a reason why he isn't, but I mean, he's dropping 40 points, and like I think he said it, anytime he drops 40, he ends up dropping in the
going
MVP.
down.
Yeah, so doesn't make sense to me either, bro. But yeah, no, I think Luka, rightfully so. I mean, he was my preseason MVP pick, and I told you the reasons. Just he's gonna put up the stats. It's just if the Lakers can win games, and they have been. So I'm right there with you, bro. I still don't get why he isn't in the mix, but he deserves to be in that conversation nonetheless. And I think it's something that a lot of fans are agreeing with as well. I saw a couple comments saying the same thing on the YouTube, and it was someone
me too.
wrote a whole.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, that was dope. That was dope, bro. So
whole...
seeing stuff like that, we're not the only ones that are kind of at a loss for words as to why he's in the conversation. So Luka Doncic, second spot on my list as well, and the number 1 player, man, potential back-to-back MVP, the one and only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, man. He's at our number 1 on the all NBA first team list. Shai has been a master this year, as he now has extended his 20-point scoring streak to 135 games, which is number 1 in league history, and it's still going. So during this year, and continues to walk himself through history, Shai is averaging 31.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 6.5 assists per game on nearly 50-40-90 splits this season, 38 from the 3, 88 from the free throw line. Shai, alongside Wemby, is the only true two-way player outside of Wemby in this MVP race. Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 1.5 steals per game and about 1 block per game as well. Shai is the all NBA first team once again, and I think just kind of basing off of what we've been saying pretty much all season, it's just been the consistency. What I like most from his game this season is it seems like he's, upping his assist. I think that's something in his game that I think playmaking ability, and also his 3-point shot. I think that's something last year specifically that I was saying, if he can unlock that and put it a part of his game, a consistent part of it, it's just going to open up his game so much more. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now. I think he takes, some 3-pointers where I'm kind of like, what are you doing? But I get it. It's a part of what you're trying to implement into your game. And I think, once he unlocks that to the full capabilities, hopefully hitting 40% from that beyond the arc, it's going to be incredible. But yeah, I think, for everything that we just said, the defensive ability, the fact that he is the guy on the team, and yes, we have a good roster, but I know that this, Z, and hopefully, fans that watch him play as well, they see when he's on the court how much of an impact he is on the roster and just how more fluid the team looks. And I say it all the time too. I feel like everyone kind of has like a little bit more swagger to their game whenever he's on the court, just because he implements some confidence into everyone because they know that they got one of the guys on their team. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, number one on my list, man.
And so the Thunder have also, what are they, second or third in missed games? They might even be first. They haven't been healthy. Who has is Shai. They're on 60-win pace with their guys being out pretty much 75% of the year. And they got AJ Mitchell back. J-Dub had that crazy breakaway layup against the Knicks, whatever. Guys are popping out left and right, but Shai's been consistent heartbeat. We didn't bring it up, but the clutch performance, bro. I think he'll probably win clutch player of the year alongside MVP, maybe. So we'll have to see. I think we've spoken about the Shai standard for the last year and a half. It's the stuff he's doing is Michael Jordan-esque, man. And I think for me, I appreciate the consistency and just the non-arrogance from it. I think that for me speaks highly of his character. I think, I think there's a starting five, right, with the Netflix, and watching him lose in the Olympics and be just angry about that because he knows, in the league, bro, he runs the whole thing. It's not the Monstars, Kevin Durant, Curry, all these guys on one team. So yeah, just what he's been able to do this year, following up from last year, that's a whole different conversation. The fact he's been even better than last year is crazy, bro. So shout out to Shai. Appreciate all these guys, man. I think we had a good 15, bro. It was different. Some different guys on our list, but overall, I have to give that an A+, bro. It was a good exercise. Hopefully, we'll see how many we get right.
Right. Yeah, I think we'll get a decent amount right, honestly. Besides, barring any injuries, and obviously,
I was gonna say injuries will make it a little tough, but we did our list with we tried to keep injuries in mind, but not really. We still wanted to give guys credit that they deserve to be on the list and make it make sense for you guys. But we're done with all NBA teams, man. I think that was good.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's how how fast the season has gone, bro.
I know, only like 2 more weeks, right?
2 more weeks,
but
bro.
CJ, let's go to the Windy City. I know Bulls fans, you've been waiting on it, so I got you. I seen somebody on TikTok was like, y'all don't do Bulls, but I got you. Over the past 10 games, the Chicago Bulls have been inconsistent, stumbling to a 3-7 record and dropping to 29-45 overall. I just want to say something too, bro. All those trade deadline moves they made at the trade deadline, like what? Like I think they're a little questionable. I like the Rob Dillingham. I like the Simons one, even though he's been hurt. I think the Celtics could probably still utilize a body like that. They're actually looking for a guard that can score right now. And they don't, JB and Tatum have been kind of sitting. I think Tatum doesn't go on back-to-back. So when that happens, I know they're still missing Anthony Simons scoring, and Vucevic is also hurt. I don't think they should have traded him. But that's a whole other conversation. I think some of the the trade moves that they made at the deadline have impacted them. That's the reason why they're 29-45 right now. They started the stretch with a heartbreaking loss, a home loss to Memphis on March 28th, and were blown out in the next game in Oklahoma City, 131-113 on the next night. Then they gave up 157 points to Philly. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah, that was, I think, Embiid played, and that was PG's first game back, right?
Where he had like 27. PG looks good, brother. The Sixers look dangerous when they're fully healthy, but that's
one of those teams. That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other convo for sure. But the lone highlight of the run, I want to give you guys some props. The lone highlight of this stretch right now was a 132-124 win over the Rockets on March 23rd, where Chicago raced out to a 41-21 first quarter. I think their bench, Colin Sexton, I think he scored 25. Matas Buzelis has had a hell of a sophomore year. Also, he was doing his thing. Şengün had a triple-double in that game, bro. He had like 33, 13, and 10, which was pretty crazy. But the Bulls were able to steal a win from Houston, which is, again, more about Houston than Chicago. I think Chicago, Giddey was able to distribute. I think he had 15 assists in that game. He's been really, really good post-All-Star break, especially in the facilitation category. I know you probably catch Bulls games like against the Thunder. You might catch the Bulls game or when they play on national television. But Josh Giddey that's a great acquisition. I think that was an A+
100%.
trade. Even the fact that Caruso has been so good for you guys,
Mm-hmm.
I'd still argue they also won out of that
One.
trade. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It just wasn't enough for Houston to be able to compete, which says a lot. But Chicago's other wins in the stretch came at home against Memphis on March 16th, and then a shootout victory on March 10th to I think the Warriors. They beat the Warriors 130-124. Yeah, I don't know, bro. The Bulls, to me right now, they're kind of in purgatory. We've spoken about them, how they kind of sit between the 9 or like the 10 and like the 7 seed. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where they're gonna be. I think during the offseason files, we'll talk about some of the moves that they'll be able to make to improve their roster, but they kind of what is it called? Yeah, but a ball chain. They put the ball chain on their ankle by
Mm-hmm.
trading for all of these guards and not having a plan for their big men.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're kind of leaving. What's his name? Jalen Smith. Is that their center?
Yep.
I think it's Jalen Smith, but they're kind of leaving him on an island with nobody out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, the Bulls' offensive rating over these last 10 games sits at 114.8 points per 100 possessions, just 21st amongst all the NBA clubs over their last 10 game span. Their defense has been worse too, CJ. They're giving up 120.2 points per 100 possessions, their defensive rating. They're allowing important opponents to score in a top 5 fashion right now, top 5 clip. We have to be mindful. That number got blown out of proportion with Philly, obviously, when you give up 160 points, but still 124 points per 100 is not very good. They're also currently have a net rating of minus 5.4 over this 10 game span. So they've kind of been all over the place, man, only picking up 3 wins over this 10 game span. Chicago, we haven't done a temperature check on you recently, but checking in right now, it doesn't look too good in the Windy City. It looks pretty hot. I think they're going to have to do a lot of work over the next few seasons to figure out where they're going. I don't know if they'll be able to sneak into a play-in game. We'll see. I don't know if they'll win that game either. Last year, similar. We were expecting a lot. The Bulls got really hot at the end of last season. I don't know if you remember the last month of the year, they were top 5 team in the league. They go into this play-in game and then they should have brick, honestly. They should have brick.
No, they did,
so
for sure.
We will have to see, Bulls fans, where you guys end up over this stretch. You guys have been, again, 20th, top 5 in defense allowed, which means you give up a ton of points, and then 21st in offensive rating. So that's not a good recipe for success, and hopefully you guys can figure it out. I don't know if you want to add anything more, if you've been watching Chicago a lot or not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't been watching them a lot, but obviously I watched the game that they just played against the Thunder, and just seeing, I think they're officially eliminated from the playoffs. They're
I was going to say that
10
they
games
are, right?
back. Yeah, 10 and a half games back. So out of the play-in. So, I guess that is going in the right direction for them, because I feel like we just said it, right? They've always are in the play-in conversation, can probably squeak into maybe a 9-10 spot and play, go into the play-in to potentially get that 8 spot or 7 spot, whatever
They've been eliminated. That's good, honestly.
That's good for them. I was about to say that. I was about to say that I think it's a going into the right direction for them, because they are actually going to potentially get, that top 5 pick, whatever it may be, if they, lotteries on their side, and they could get a piece to build around their young guys that you mentioned. Giddey and Buzelis has been looking incredible, bro. I feel like Giddey, like you said it earlier, what he's been able to be for them, and at the contract, right? I feel like that was something that we were waiting to see what that was going to look like, and what he's getting, I think, $100 million over 4 years. So looking like a great deal for them. Obviously I don't know who they're going to get, depending on their draft spot, but it's a good building blocks. I would say that, because they have guys that are going to go out there and play, and kind of what I noticed whenever we played against them is, they play fast, they shoot threes, and I think the only thing is the defense, right? But if you could get a piece in this draft to kind of help you, figure out where you're trying to go, and it's a going in the right direction for the Bulls, and I feel like it's something that they haven't been able to, be in contentions for the lottery, just because they are always in that conversation for the play-in. So the fact that they're eliminated now, it's good for them. It's kind of crazy to say that, because you do want to be in the playoffs, but I'm assuming Bulls fans as well, it gives them hope to try to get,
Yes.
one of these guys in this upcoming draft. And, whatever it is, I'm
Yeah.
assuming 1 through 14 is going to be a solid pickup for them. So that's really all I
Right.
got to say for them. Haven't been watching them too much, but I know Giddey has been
I
doing
like
his
that.
thing, like you said, facilitating, kind of a do-it-all guard. And then Matas has been playing incredible, like you said, a huge sophomore season. I think it's, like I said, going in the right direction for the Bulls. So, eliminated from the playoffs, you usually aren't celebrating that, but I feel like for the Bulls, it's something to where you kind of see where their timeline is at, right now. So.
And like you said, like Pacers, Bulls, Jazz, like Grizzlies, these teams that need the picks, I get it, bro. Like I was kind of like, it was like in Dynasty, like I asked you, I was like, are you going for third or are you going to take the pick?
Right.
I think the Bulls made that decision in their front office, which is good. I'm excited for that offseason file though, because I think they need to rework their roster. Currently, I'd argue it's Buzeli's, Giddey, and then who's that third building block for you?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, like you said, they have a lot
like
of guards.
Essengay or the pick they make this year, like you said, that was a good take.
I was gonna say probably the pick. I would assume, but like you said, Essengay, who he's been out for the whole season. I wouldn't say Rob yet, just because we haven't seen much from him, and I think that draft, that asset's probably going to be a little more valuable for them. So probably that, honestly, because I couldn't tell you anyone else on the roster right now. I was
thinking that as well,
that they would build around. So.
After they got the Kobe White trade, right? I don't like that. The Hornets really fleeced y'all.
Yeah,
that's a great trade for them, and you've seen how that's grown their team, right? So I'm like, well, now that Kobe White's gone, who was a 20 points per game scorer on Chicago, we'll have to see. But yeah, Bulls fans, I apologize. I thought y'all still had a chance, maybe, but CJ cleared that up for me.
I checked just to make sure because I thought I had seen it.
Saw it.
And they're eliminated. So
that's fine. Yeah. I don't want to speak too hastily though. So Bulls fans, I apologize because y'all are probably happy about that, like to CJ's point.
For sure. Well, this is our next storyline of the week. We got our playoff contenders. We're gonna talk about some of these teams that we think have a great chance of get into the mountaintop. We always talk about that. So the East top seed Detroit is vulnerable because of poor three-point shooting. They're 29th in attempts and 28th in makes. And teams like Boston and New York that funnel opponents into perimeter shots could exploit this weakness. Boston's kryptonite is it lacks of transition offense. The Celtics rank last in fast break points, averaging 11.4 fast break points per game, and need Jason Tatum's return from injury to boost half-court efficiency, while the Pistons' stingy half-court defense could be a tricky matchup. New York's bench contributes only 31.2 points a game, 28th in the league, putting strain on the starters and making the Heat's high-scoring bench and fast pace an unwelcome opponent. Cleveland's paint-focused defense concedes corner three-pointers. Opponents hit 40.9% from there and would be tested by Charlotte, which leads the league in three-pointers made and has rookie Concanumpo leading in 3 points makes.
I like this because currently, like Cleveland versus Charlotte, right? That's the current matchup. Like you kind of went through who these teams would be playing and the differences between them. I didn't know Boston was so bad in fast break situations, but it makes sense. You only scoring, less than 12 points a game, which is interesting. And, New York, they would play the Heat right now. That's, that's not a good matchup. Whenever they play fast, they're going to shoot a lot of threes. That doesn't add up for New York. I think the Eastern Conference this season, I think is going to be a toss up, brother. I don't know. I think if you had to ask, or if you had to say who's making it out of the East for you today, maybe it's changed, but
today
for me it has.
Yeah, it's. I've been saying Knicks all season for everyone that doesn't know. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of leaning Boston at this very moment. I'm not gonna lie. That's
unfortunately
they're looking good. Tatum's returning from his injury. It looks like he's kind of fit in perfectly to what they've already got going. And I just think with the the guys that they have on their team, they're going to shoot threes, they're going to play defense, Missoula ball to its finest. And, I think, I was able to see what that looks like, at its full strength when we went against them last Wednesday. So I'm leaning towards them. I still have a little bit of faith in the Knicks, but Boston's looking good, bro. They're looking good at the right moment. So I think I'm leaning towards them now.
Okay. I think, I don't know if Boston wants to try to get that 1 seed. They might be trying to hawk down the Pistons just so they can grab a better matchup in that first round.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, bro, at this current stage, you just went through some of the weakness points for some of those teams. I think Boston, the fast break points can be alleviated by their half-court offense. Peyton Pritchard's been brilliant. Jason Tatum's been inefficient, like you mentioned, but he's still been good for them. Obviously, he's much better than Jordan Walsh. And Jaylen Brown, you said it, first team All-NBA for you, currently in the MVP conversation. But yeah, I think that's an interesting question just because the East has been such a shakeup this year. I know Toronto's not in this conversation right now, and there's a couple other teams that we feel like are fringe contenders. But yeah, Cleveland, Boston, New York, we'll have to see how those teams fare in that the Eastern Conference playoffs this season. But yeah, I'd have to rock with Boston too, bro. I think Missoula has them focused, bro.
Yeah. It sucks to say it, but I think that's kind of where I'm leaning to, bro. Just what they've been able to do all season without Tatum, and now Tatum's back. JB is still playing at the same level, and like you said, Pritchard's been playing incredible. Derek White is still, hitting threes, playing defense, doing his thing. It's hard to bet against them at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you, but we're gonna go out west now for these contenders, and their pros and cons as well. In the West, Oklahoma City's aggressive defense forces turnovers, but concedes a league worst 4.6 made corner 3-pointers per game, and that's something I talk about all season long. So
I'm gonna say about that.
I know about that one way too much, bro.
Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, I know CJ knows,
bro. I know it way too much." Going into San Antonio though. San Antonio, which attempts a league-leading 12.4 corner threes, has already won 4 or 5 matchups against the Thunder and could capitalize in a playoff series. San Antonio's own issue, though, is closing games. Despite frequent double-digit leads, they've blown 13 such games. So facing the Lakers, the league's best clutch team, 22-7, with Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James, is hazardous.
It's hazardous.
Hazardous.
You don't want to go there.
You don't want to go there, man. Especially in a series, it's
for sure. San Antonio versus LA. Who you going with in that?
Oof,
I think that's 7 games.
I think that's a 7-game series. I would kind of lean y'all, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Luka,
I'm gonna stick with that because I'm going how everyone was saying about the Thunder. They're just too young. They don't have the experience. This and that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like that until you do it. But I just have to see it. So I'm rocking with the Lakers if that ends up being a series.
I like it.
But,
yeah.
So the Lakers suffer from weak rim protection. They allow opponents to shoot 61.3% in the paint. That's 29th in the league. And
second to last.
And must rely on DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes to improve this.
When I saw that one too, that one scares me because you said Wemby lives there. He will. He's torched us already. We give up so many paint touches. What did I say all year? Paint touches. And 60% in the paint is a staggering number. It's I think the Wizards are 30th.
That's
30th. That goes to show you where we are.
Where y'all are at in that.
It's not good.
No.
Every team has a weakness, though. You guys are seeing it.
Yep. I was about to say that's the beauty of the game. You may be top in your conference, but you still have weaknesses that teams can potentially exploit, especially in the playoffs. When it's a 7-game series, we'll see what you're really made of and see if you can hone on into your weakness and figure out a game plan to fix it. But
exactly.
While Minnesota and San Antonio rank near the top in paint efficiency and present matchup problems as well, Houston turns the ball over 15.7 times a game, fourth worst in the NBA, because the injury to Fred VanVleet has forced Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun into high usage
Ooh, that's a good
playmaking
one.
roles.
It's a good take.
I was about to say that's good because like I mean we saw it first. I saw it firsthand when they went against the Lakers. You know, just seeing doubling
turnover
KD
after
and
turnover. Right. They look so lost.
Bro.
They look like elementary offense. You know, we ran better plays in high school than they were running those two games, and it scares me because Ime Udoka's a hell of a coach, Durant's a hell of a player, Şengün's a hell of a player, but they have nobody to initiate because Reed Shepherd can't do it yet. That's the thing. He can, but he can't because there's still guys. Case and Walt, they'll bother the hell out of somebody like Reed Shepherd. So that's a good take, CJ. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Oklahoma City's turnover forcing defense would amplify this flaw as well.
For sure.
Denver struggles to create defensive havoc. They rank last in turnovers forced, and 29th in blocks, making a potential matchup between Houston dangerous because Denver might not capitalize on the Rockets' turnover issue. Finally, Minnesota ranks 23rd in bench scoring, though recent trades for Ayo Dosunmu and the emergence of Bones Highland have helped. Busy Bone Highland. However, Oklahoma City's deep roster can overwhelm Minnesota's limited bench depth.
Yeah,
man, it's
still got OKC though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's
out the West.
The West is wicked, bro. I feel like we've been saying it all year. It's been something that all these teams have been, you know, we said all the contenders that we believe are great teams, but they can be exploited, man, especially when a 7-game series, like I said, any of the matchups can be a sticky situations for any of these teams, you know, especially when you have two weeks to, you know, battle against each other, you know, find out your flaws and, you know, try to capitalize off of whatever the team's weaknesses. And it's bro, I'm just ready for it, bro, because that's exciting. When it really gets into the nitty gritty. Everyone's gonna be analyzing everything, and we'll see what these teams are made of, bro. But I think it's gonna be an exciting one, man, and I'm just ready to get to it, bro. Ready for these last couple weeks to kind of wrap up, just so we see who we got matched up with, and then we'll start going off of that. But yeah, no, those are our our playoff contenders, and you know, there are pros and cons to each of these teams because. You know,
I love that.
These are
a good exercise.
The best teams in the league, but everyone has a weakness. So I think that's kind of what we wanted to highlight in this segment, and just showing you that, you know, yeah, these teams are good, but they can lose games, and you know, we'll see what that ends up looking like in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think like Minnesota's vulnerable, right? Their bench scoring was porous, and you talked about it at the end. But Bones and Ayo, like they've tried to work on that. They've added on that. I think teams are trying to work, obviously, on their weaknesses. Lakers have cleaned up the defense over the last month. I don't think the Thunder have been giving up as many threes over the last month either. These are all season stats, so we have to remember, you know, form does matter. It's similar to soccer. If a team is hot, that matters, right? Because if we look at the body of work, that's different than the sample size or when we get to June. So be mindful of that. But let's go into these previews for our matchups tonight, man. First game off the rip. It's 8:35 p.m. Central. This one was at 6 p.m. We got the 76ers and Heat. Heat are at home. The Sixers have listed Broom as out, and the Sixers have listed Broom as out, and the Heat have listed Powell as a game time decision, and Terry Rozier is out. Storylines for this game, CJ. This is the third matchup of the season between the Sixers and the Heat. Over the last 5 games, the Heat are 1-4, and the Sixers are 4-1. The Sixers are starting to get hot. Because why? Maxi's back. You saw that punch out on Miles Bridges?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
He tried to shake his hand, and he
said, nah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they look a lot better when he's played. I think they have a great net rating when Maxi's in the lineup. Over that same time frame, the Sixers ranked 3rd in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 124.6 points per 100 possessions. The Heat ranked 25th in the NBA in defensive rating over that span, so they've been struggling, allowing 126.4 points per 100 possessions on a -9 net rating. The Heat ranked 23rd in the NBA net rating over the last 5. I got to go with the Sixers. Just their offensive ability right now with Embiid and George and Edgecombe and obviously Maxey is way too much for the Heat to handle. I know the Heat don't want to be in the play-in, but it looks like they're going to be headed there. The last month for them, The teams in Orlando in Florida,
Oh
what's
my
going on?
gosh.
In
Oh man.
Orlando, Miami, they don't look very good right now. And I'll be honest, it does not have me thinking that they're going to be competitive over the next few years. But that's neither here nor there. The Heat are going to lose this game.
Yeah.
76ers. Give me Embiid too. He looks good too. He
Yeah.
looks healthy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm rocking with the 76ers as well, bro. Just, getting all their people back at the right time. They were already, competing, when they went against the 76ers, went against the Thunder, VJ kind of had a game. So I think it's showing you that whenever they get all their pieces back, they're going to be a dangerous team. And I don't
Who's
think
your rookie of the year right now?
Ooh, I think I'm still going Con, but VJ is making his way up the rankings for sure, bro. Obviously, Coop has been doing his thing. Think it's kind of, just
I'm
kind
gonna
of
go with Cooper Flag.
Really, that's who you're rocking with?
I'm gonna stick that one out, bro. I think we'll clip this one up too, but when we made the last one, I think you and we had that. He had just got off that 49-point performance, but I think over the last month of the season, VJ Flag, like Khan had some stinkers last two games. I think he went 5 of 14, and then he had another game where he only had 9 points. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a chance for VJ and Cooper Flag to catch up to him, and that's why I ask you. So
yeah, no, that this rookie of the year race is going to be good, bro. Everyone's been balling out, so it's kind of, we'll see. We still got a couple more weeks, so they could prove us wrong. But going into this next matchup, man, we have the Celtics versus Hawks. It was a 6 p.m. tip-off. The Celtics have listed Jaylen Brown and Derek White as a game-time decision, and Vucevic is listed as out. The Hawks have no injured players. Just applaud that.
Yeah,
you don't really get to see that much.
For real.
Some storylines for this game. This is the 4th matchup of the season between the Hawks and the Celtics. The Celtics lead the season series 2-1. Over their last 10 games, the Hawks are 8-2 and rank 6th in the NBA in net rating with a +9, and the Celtics are 7-3 over that same span and rank 11th in the NBA in net rating with a +5.7. Ooh, this is
the best game of the slate.
I was about to say this is probably one of the best games right now for sure. I think I'm rocking with the Hawks, bro. I think just
Me too.
Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, making this case for MIP award winner, and
no doubt.
Just what in the A, and just seeing how good they've been looking. I think what I've been most impressed with them over these last 10 games has been their defense. Obviously we know what they can be on the offensive side of the ball with Jalen Johnson, but their defense has really stepped up. Nneka Okongwu has been having a great year as well. I think he's taken his most threes he's ever have in his career, and he's shooting at a pretty high level as well. So I think that's going to be a lot for the Celtics to be able to keep up with. But we know it's the Celtics. We said that those that's our favorite team to come out the Eastern Conference at this point. But I think it's going to be a tough one for them to hang with the Hawks. So rocking with the Hawks in this one, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Hawks, and again, maybe 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have chosen the Hawks. They've done this for a month and a half now, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they got through their easy strength of schedule. They've proven they can win. I've started with that Orlando game. They smacked them, right? And now they've carried that momentum through these last couple games. I got to take them at home. They've been the best team over the last month.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, at home. So, yeah, I gotta take the Hawks. Moving on to our next game, though. This one's against Suns and Grizzlies. The Grizz are at home. This one's at 7 p.m. The Suns are missing Mark Williams, Dylan Brooks, Hayward Highsmith, and Amir Coffey. The Grizzlies have listed Wells, Morant, and Ty Jerome is out. Small and Gibson are listed as game-time decisions. But storylines for this matchup, CJ, this is the 3rd matchup of the season between the Grizzlies and the Suns, with the season series tied 1-1. Over the last 10 games, the Grizzlies ranked 29th in the NBA net rating with a -14.1, and the Suns ranked 14th in the NBA net rating over that same span with a +3.7. All-time head-to-head record. This one was cool between the Grizzlies and the Suns. 63 wins for the Suns, 48 for the Grizzlies. I got to take the Suns. I feel like Devin Booker is going to, they're trying to win games. They want to get a good seed for the playoffs. The Suns are going to the playoffs firmly. He's a second-team All-NBA player in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And they just have a better team right now, bro. The defense, they're playing a lot more, connected basketball. And obviously the Grizzlies aren't trying to win. So, yeah, I gotta rock with the Suns, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Suns as well. You said of Devin Booker, but Jalen Green, bro, he's been looking incredible over these last couple games as well. And I think it's something that we were, very high on them coming into the season with that, backcourt was going to look like healthy, and we really haven't been able to see it. But the times we have, it's looked incredible. And I think it's just going to be a little too much for the Grizzlies to be able to keep up with on, the offensive side of the ball. And like you said, defense as well. They have, Royce O'Neal, Oso Ighodaro, Colin Gillespie. They've been, I think we say it a lot. They've been kind of like the darlings of the season. So I'm rocking with the Suns as well, in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm gonna take over Bulls and Spurs. That way you can hit on your Pistons Thunder. But next game, this one's also at 7. The Bulls have listed Mac McClung, who's on the roster. Let's go, CJ.
Facts.
As he should be, putting up 50 points in the G League. He's an NBA player. I want to say that I don't think he needs to be in the G League, so that was cool to see, even though he's not playing. Anthony Simons and Jaden Ivey as out, who's been going through some stuff. Hopefully he can find light for real. I think he got cut. Yeah, I was gonna say I think they might have cut him today.
Today.
Yeah, it was today. So yeah, hopefully Jaden Ivey can find light. Purdue Boilermaker, probably somebody who, I think the Pistons went in a different direction because they saw some of the stuff that's now happening now. But I just pray for him, man. Nick Richards, Yabusele are listed as game time decisions as well. The Spurs have listed Jones Garcia as out. But over the last 15 games, man, the Spurs have a 13-2 record and rank first in the NBA net rating over that time frame with a plus 13.9. The Bulls over their last 15 games are 5-10 and rank 20th in the NBA net rating with a minus 4.2. Over their last 5 games, the Spurs are scoring a whopping 124.2 points per 100, which ranks 4th in the NBA. And the Bulls are allowing 121 points per 100 possessions, which ranks 20th in the NBA over that span. This one's easy. Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs. Go, Spurs, go.
Yeah, sadly.
Nah. But against the Bulls, y'all got it.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you remember the first game in United Center, the Wemby wave off, call out, get out my way, got him on Vucevic. He hit that step back 3 to win. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, no, it's we don't have to say much about that game. Spurs for sure. I think, we've been seeing what they've been able to do over the last month of basketball. So
exactly.
Rocking with them, sadly. Going into our next matchup though is the Wolves versus Mavericks. This is a 7:30 tip-off. The Mavs are missing Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, and Martin. Marshall and Bagley are listed as a game time decision, and the T-Wolves have listed Anthony Edwards and Ayo Dosunmu as game time decisions. I believe Ant is going tonight, so shout out to that. I feel like that's been something they've been missing.
There's a reason why,
yeah. And McDaniels is listed as out as well. So Wolves are kind of dealing with a lot of injuries, as well as the Mavericks. Some storylines for this matchup, Z. This is the 4th matchup of the season between the Mavs and the T-Wolves. The T-Wolves are 3-0 this season with an average win margin of 16 points. Over the last 5 games, the Mavs rank 19th in the NBA in net rating with a minus 4.1 and have a 1-4 record. The T-Wolves rank 15th in the NBA in net rating over that span and have a 3-2 record. Rocking with the Wolves, man. Ant's, game back.
Yeah, me too.
In Dallas, I think he's going to show out. I feel like we know the type of player that he can be in those type of environments, what he can do, and just the better team, honestly. Mavericks really aren't trying to win right now. Obviously, Cooper Flagg has been doing his thing, like ZD mentioned earlier in the Rookie of the Year race that we've got going on this season. But I just don't think the Mavs have enough. A lot of injuries, and I think the Wolves have been playing pretty good basketball and have been in the mix all season. I feel like been kind of, I think you mentioned it earlier in the year, they're kind of like the sleeping giant of the Western Conference, just because, they can potentially
compete with anybody. They can beat
game in and game out.
Thunder, Lakers, Spurs, on any given, if Ant is hitting his threes, if Randall, it's really Julius Randle, right?
Yeah.
If honestly, I could see the Mavericks actually win this game if Julius Randle doesn't play good. So there is risk for that. I think Cooper Flag does give you 30 or 40-point performance tonight. He's been playing out of his mind, but I'm gonna have to agree with CJ, bro. Like you said, Ant being back gives him a lot of hope. I know you saw what Jaden McDaniels did against KD. Just ripping him in the open court, showing that he's also a two-way superstar in the making. So shout out JD for that one. But yeah, man, next game is Cavs versus Jazz. This is at 8 p.m. The Cavs are missing Max Strus, Jared Allen, Jalen Tyson, and Dean Wade. Craig Porter Jr. is listed as a game-time decision. The Jazz are missing Isaiah Collier, George, Markkanen, Jackson Jr., and Nurkic, which has been a recurring theme. This is the second matchup of the season between the Cavs and the Jazz, with the Jazz leading the season series 1-0. The Jazz defeated the Cavs on January 12th, 123-112. Over their last 10 games, the Jazz ranked 27th in the NBA in net rating with a minus 11.6, and the Cavs ranked 13th in the NBA net rating with a plus 5.5. Currently on the season, the Jazz are 21-54, and the Cavs are 46-28. I think this is pretty simple. I'm going to rock with the Cavs. There's one team is tanking. We don't like to say that word, but they're tanking. And then the Cavs they want to get to 50 wins, want to get a good seed. Yeah, I'm going with the Cavs. I think this one was simple. I've been getting these bad games, man.
Yeah, I was about to say pretty simple for me, Cavs, bro. James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, what they've been able to look like. Jared Allen is still out, but Evan Mobley has been in the mix.
He's been awesome.
He's been, doing what he's been doing for the past couple of seasons, just as a guard that can get him the ball in easier spots. So rocking with the Cavs as well. This game, obviously, circumstances a little different. I'll go into it with the injury list, but it's the Pistons versus Thunder. It's the 8:30 p.m. tip-off as well. The Pistons have listed Asar Thompson, Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, and Moore Jr. as a game-time decision. Cade Cunningham is out. We talked about that. And the Thunder have listed Sorber is out, who's missed this whole season. So healthy roster. I love to see it. Honestly, it's something I have not been able to say all season. So Thunder, full health. Pistons missing a lot of guys. Storylines for this matchup, though. This is the second matchup of the season between the Thunder and the Pistons. The Pistons defeated the Thunder on February 25th, 124-116. Over the last 5 games, the Thunder are 4-1 and rank 5th in the NBA net rating with a plus 12.4. The Pistons are also 4-1 and rank 6th in the NBA in net rating with a plus 12. The Thunder are 59-16, first in the West, and the Pistons are 54-20. First in the Eastern Conference. Like I said, injuries, I think, have affected this matchup.
On paper, this is the best one.
The best game, but I think injuries, just kind of affected. Cade being out, obviously, is a huge loss for the Pistons. But I just think Thunder, bro, I always tell you this, I got to rock with the boys regardless of what the situation is. But even, honestly, just looking at, what the pay on paper, I think this is our game to win. We have to win this one. Have to prove a point. Obviously, missing a lot of players on the Detroit side, but I just think we're healthy at the right time, and we've been looking really good. So rocking with the Thunder in this.
And can I save you the agony? Okay, the Thunder is still great. They lost once versus Celtics. Jaylen Brown played great. Okay, nobody showed up on the Thunder side. Chet Holmgren was a ghost. Jalen Mitchell, J-Dub was AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell actually had a good game. I'm sorry, Jalen Williams. Ghost. Yeah, AJ Mitchell was cooking. But they lost. Cool, it happens. They've still been the best team the entire year. It makes it tough. I mean, you can get into it a little later after I talk about the Lakers, but I think people are they're gonna be on you. They're gonna want to wonder what happened in that game. I think the Celtics just caught them at home. Yeah, they hit a lot of threes. Peyton Pritchard
got timely stops.
Yeah, that's literally the one blip over the last month that the Thunder have had. So to your point, with no Cade, I'm going with the Thunder. They've been pretty much playing perfect basketball now that they're healthy. But this is the last game of the slate. My Lakers, we play the Wizards. We're at home at 9 p.m. Got the late games in 10 minutes, but we're missing Luka Doncic due to a suspension. Marcus Smart and Adu Thero, who's been out for weeks, unfortunately. But the Wizards are missing Keyshawn George, Trae Young, Sarr, and Trey Johnson, and Bud Carrington are listed as game time decisions. So, yeah, I think Trae Young and George are out for this one, so we'll have to see how that impacts them. But over the last 10 games, the Lakers are 9-1 and the Wizards are 1-9. Doncic is out due to receiving his 16th tech on the year. Over the last 10 games, the Lakers rank 8th in the NBA net rating with a plus 7.3, and the Wizards ranked 28th in the NBA net rating over that same span with a minus 12.3. The last time we played the Wizards on January 30th, we defeated them 142-111. I'm going to keep Lakers analysis and recap short. We've been playing bummy teams. Not really going to talk about it. We defeated the Nets and the Pacers. The Pacers game, we were up by 30 at one point. They did score like 45 points in the fourth quarter to make it kind of a close game. But the Nets game was close. Okay, Zaire Williams, Ben Saraf, the first three quarters, even with Luka scoring, I think he had 41 in that game. He ended up finishing with 41. Got the tech because him and Zaire Williams got into it. Zaire Williams and Ben Saraf had a hell of a game. They were able to keep it close pretty much to the beginning of the fourth quarter, and that's when Austin Reeves scored 15 in the fourth. They sat their starters and only scored 15 points in that last quarter to lose the game, which, of course, the Nets are trying to do. So I don't really have much to add. I'm not going to talk about it a bunch. We're playing the Wizards tonight. Again, if we lose, I'd be really, really disappointed, really shocked. That's just an unfocused thing, but I'm going to go with the Lakers. Clearly, the net ratings are on separate sides of good and bad. And yeah, I think analysis for the Lakers Thunder today is shorter than normal, but we've been playing bad teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, even without Luka, I'm still rocking with the Lakers as well. I think Austin Reeves is gonna have himself a game for sure. Hopefully he shows us those at the beginning of the season type of game. You know, this is his time to shine. I think he's gonna step up to the moment with the Wizards. You know, being the worst team on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's gonna be easy for AR to get it cooking. But yeah, you said it, bro. I was about to say, kind of jumping right into Thunder analysis. You brought it up, man. We ended up losing to the Boston Celtics 119-109. It was actually a very close game pretty much the whole time, going up to really the third quarter. That's when they kind of popped off. They ended up scoring 39 points in that quarter alone, and I think they scored 31 in the fourth, so 70 points in the second half. That's really when the game shifted. There was moments in the game, we were up by 11. They would go on a run, get stops, and I think the thing that we talked about, right, their fast break offense isn't the greatest, on the break, but just what they're able to do, find the open man, swing the ball, attack and drive and kick out. It's what Missoula ball is all about, and I think we saw what that looks like to its full capabilities when we played against them. And like you said,
unfortunately,
we had Chet going ghost, J-Dub going ghost, and at moments like that, it's hard to win games when you're, two out of your three best players aren't able to perform. And, I don't want to make excuses, but I mean, that's really what it boils down to for us. And,
for real,
shoot the Celtics shooting 44% from three. I think that kind of goes to show. I think, we say they're 18 for 41. It's hard to beat a team away when they're, scorching from the 3-point line, and it's what they're known for. It's what they've been able to do all season, and we saw that. I saw that firsthand, sadly, last Wednesday. But that was a great game, bro. That was people are saying potential NBA Finals matchup, right? So, but I think
preview.
It was it was just a
good learning lesson. Yeah, you got to
third quarter. From that point on, it was hard for us to really get our shots going. Obviously, JB was doing his thing. I think he dropped 32, whatever it was, 30, yeah, something like that. And just Peyton Pritchard hitting timely shots.
Pritchard,
and, man, it's been
Shireman, corner three. That was the best game I've seen from the Celtics all year, bro.
Yeah.
And so, I charged it to the game. I'm not going to lie. If I had a series today, I'm still taking the Thunder. That's why I'm like, you can make it quick, because I don't know if the Celtics can do that 4 times, especially when the Thunder at home. Mm-hmm. But they deserve credit, bro. I know we like to talk mess about Boston. It's just a joke. But they definitely had a really good week last week. So shout out to Boston. I think it's more about them than it is about the Thunder.
Yeah, I agree. Just like you said, you can only do so much when the team's scorching and we're not able to really get production from our other two guys. So, like you said, charge to the game. It sucks losing, but that has been the one blimp in our schedule out of the last month. So.
Hey, CJ, so Final Four. Who you got winning the national championship, man?
Oh.
You saw UConn with that. UConn hit that game winner.
Last night was a great day for me because Duke lost and the Thunder won, man. So
what? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. UConn is looking really good.
I was gonna say UConn. I think for me it's UConn.
I think it's UConn.
They're gonna take that momentum. It's somewhere. I think Dan Hurley's a hell of a coach too.
Oh
man.
yeah.
He's awesome. So
his only loss in March Madness was against Florida in the national championship. So I think that kind of speaks for itself, and just kind of, I saw a tweet where, it shows like accolades of like head coaches in college basketball and this and that. And people are shitting on coaches because they don't have any national championships. And I don't think people realize how hard it is to win NCAA men's basketball championship just because of the tournament. And it's 64 team tournament. It's hard to get to that mountaintop every single time. But I'm rocking with UConn, bro. Just off of that game, I think it was like teams that were up, number one seeds that were up by 15 in going into halftime were 134-0. Now they're 134-1 after last night's game.
Makes sense. So, the math makes sense, right?
But yeah, rocking with UConn, bro. They're looking good. I honestly really do like how Illinois is looking as well, though. Michigan. Yeah, me too. This Final Four is really good, but I think I'm going with UConn, bro. Like you said, just Dan Hurley. I like the way he coaches. He shows his emotion. I think a lot of coaches don't do that, and it can be
detrimental.
Detrimental to your team's success at certain points. But when it's going right, it has you wanting to run through a wall for them. So I'm not going with UConn, bro. I fuck with UConn.
I had to ask you for that and for the supporters. I know they're wondering. So yeah, man. I don't really have too much. I think we're close to playoffs. I know, I think after this Wizards game, hopefully when the Lakers start competing, playing some more competitive games after we get to the 50-win mark, it'll be good. But I'm good if you are, man. I don't know if you got anything else.
Nah, man. Just like you said it, we're getting close to the playoffs, and I feel like this is, we said it last podcast, but best time of year for us. NCAA tournament, playoffs about to start here in a couple weeks, and it's just what we've been waiting for all season, bro. I told you like a month into this season, I'm just ready for the playoffs to start. So now we're inching close to that, and I'm just ready, man. Ready to get into that environment again, see, Paycom Center jumping, and, hopefully, if the cards line up right, I might be able to go to one of these games, man. That's my goal. I've been saying I want to go to, a Thunder home game. So, if everything looks good, I might go to one of these matchups, man, just to see it. But no, nothing else for me, bro. If there's anything else you want to let the people know before we head out?
No, sir, man. Just appreciate you guys. We'll make sure we get the clips out, and catch us on Live on Assist. I think during playoffs, we'll go by round. Lakers may not go to the finals. That's fine. I think the Thunder might, but we'll go as far as our teams go, man. And obviously, we'll stream during the finals. So appreciate you guys' time, man.
Yeah. Well, if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode of 3-Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.
3-Man.
3-Man.